the Honda 300L, the best dual sport. So I get this question a lot. People ask me, how come I consider my Honda 300L to be one of the best dual sports on the market? A lot of people don't see the value in this bike, even though a ton of content creators swear by it. I get questions like, how come all your favorite bikes are new bikes? Or something along the lines of, my X bike I had back in X year is lighter and more horsepower. How is the Honda 300L better than that bike? So what happens when you set out to make a dual sport that has mass appeal with a low price tag, and you're the biggest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, and you also have one of the best research and development departments, and you're known for your ridiculous reliability? Okay, let's get serious for a moment. Why is it that me and a bunch of other people feel like the Honda 300L might be the best dual sport? Certainly the best dual sport for its price. Well, I have a couple points to make here, and I have two main takeaways. Let me explain my point of view, and you can tell me if I'm completely wrong, if you disagree, or if you can kind of see where I'm coming from. But hopefully, I can at least give you a different angle of perspective that I challenge everyone to take an objective view that wrap their head around my way of thinking. No matter how much you may be resistant to the idea of the Honda 300L being a very good, or if not, one of the best dual sports you can buy today. So like I said, just hear out my points. I have two, and we'll start with the first point now. Point number one, let's go back and first look at other bikes on the market. Other bikes regarded as some of the best dual sports. One good example, and I think one of the best dual sports you can buy, is the DRZ400S. It's a great bike. I've rode it a ton over the years. I have two friends in my riding group who own the road version, as well as one friend who has the off-road version, in which I've done a lot of work on that myself, personally. So I know this bike very well. I even did a side-by-side versus the DRZ400 and the 300L. So Suzuki first started manufacturing in the year 2000, which means some engineers started research and development probably 4 to 5 years, maybe even 6 years beforehand. A prototype was probably made somewhere around 1996, 1997. So when R&D started, cell phones looked like this. Tom and Jerry was the most popular cartoon on TV, and this was about a decade before YouTube even existed. The point I'm making here is technology has changed a ton, not just with the bikes, but in the research and development department. Back then, a PC from 1996, it could not possibly handle the workload of advanced programs that offer physics to design a bike or any car manufacturer has access to today. So if it's 1996 and you're Suzuki, what did you do? Well, you made a prototype, you put it through some tests, you put weight on it, manipulated it around, and you tried to get a best idea how this bike would handle and if it would sell. But today you can make a 3D render of the motorcycle, code in a physics program, and show something all the way down to the exact balance of the bike and how it will change after moving something small like the weight of an ECU 14 degrees to the left, and then showing how much more comfortable the entire bike would be going 40 miles an hour down a grade of 20 degrees making a left wide turn. Craziness. So hopefully you can envision what we're talking about here. When you have things like that, you end up catching people like me on candid reviews saying stuff like this. Me personally, I've always had a love-hate relationship with the DRZ. The bike to me always feels like it wants to stand straight up in the air or just completely lay down right on its side. The 300L is much more balanced, and its center of gravity feels so much better. I even feel more confident standing on the 300L. Now the Honda is only 10 pounds lighter, but on tight track it feels 50 pounds lighter. And other reviewers saying stuff like this.
The WR wins no contest here. It's 134 kilograms wet, so if my 8th grade math serves me right, it's 8 kilograms lighter than the 142 wet of the Honda. Because of this, the WR really does make a case for the better single track weapon. This is if you're just looking at it on paper. Having ridden both of these multiple times on single track and really tested them out now, I can tell you that I cannot discern any difference in the handling, the flickability of the bike. I would even point out that somehow Honda has managed to make it feel less top heavy than the WR250R. I don't know how that works. Perhaps it's because of the center of gravity, maybe the engine.
The CRF300L is slightly heavier than this DRZ400E. The CRF300L Rally and even the normal dual sport feels way better. So much better on the road, on the trails, the ergonomics, the comfort.
But believe it or not, the CRF feels more confident, inspiring off-road, feels more nimble, and is much easier to ride due to its modern ergonomics, modern engineering, and how the weight is displaced.
I mean, it's no secret. A lot of bikes today were developed on technology that was decades old, or at the very least, not up to par of today. On a side note, take a look at how long the WR250 has been out of production. Yamaha's pulled it off. They're probably working on research and development to make a new WR, either the 300 and 350. I have a whole video talking about that, and that's a bike I'm really excited to see. But it just goes to show this stuff doesn't get done overnight, and as little to nothing has changed on a lot of the dual sports that are on the market today, especially in and around this price range. So mainly my point here is black and white text on spec sheets will never give you the full story. But so many people put value in this. They're quick to tell you the 300L is bad because it weighs too much or it doesn't have enough power, when them themselves have never even rode the bike, or if they have, they haven't had considerable amount of time to ride the bike. All my friends that have ever rode my 300L, which is everyone, because I push my bike on everybody. Take it for a ride, take it for a ride. What if I drop it? I don't care. Take it for a ride. They all say they love it, it's fantastic, and it's great the way I have it set up. Point number 2, my second point. For my second point, let me refer back to a video I did where I made a chart. And in this chart, I feel it's a law of nature that whenever you change something to more suit it to a better purpose, it starts to lose ability in other purposes. Nothing is perfect at everything. This is the true nature of a dual sport. It is good at doing many things, it can do many things, but with that logic, it doesn't do anything perfect, because therefore it would not be a dual sport. These laws also apply in nature all the way down to the majestic cheetah, known for its speed. It can run at top speed for a quarter mile or 250 meters in about 15 seconds. That's 50 to 80 miles per hour from a dead stop. But after, this incredible animal must rest for sometimes up to a half an hour before it can even eat its prey. With all this performance comes great cost. I feel a lot of times people confuse powerful, quick service interval bikes that are basically street legal dirt bikes as dual sports. To me, a dual sport is a bike that you're willing to ride back and forth to work all week long, then ride it to the trail and ride it on the trail that whole weekend, back for ready to work again the next week. You have two sides of the spectrum here. On one side of the market, you have tons of heavy adventure bikes that will go all week long back and forth to work with no problems at all. But mainly they're pretty heavy and they may not be too comfortable when it comes to stuff like single track and a lot of heavy off-road use. Not saying you can't do it, some people do, but it's less comfortable. These bikes are ADV bikes, they have their own classification for a reason, they are off-road bikes, essentially they are dual sport, but a light dual sport motorcycle will be more well suited for the off-road portion that these heavy bikes lack. Then on the other side, you have tons of bikes that people like the trailer to the trails that have amazing performance, but aren't so great on the road and have very short service intervals. My buddy Nick has a KTM 520 EXE, great bike. I rode it a bunch over the years. In fact, it's located in my pole barn right now. But personally, I find this bike uncomfortable on the road. No instrument cluster, small gas tank, and the service manual says valve clearances should be checked every 15 hours. Ouch. But on the other hand, this bike is a beast on the trail. Technically, it's a dual sport, but it's not something you want to drive back and forth to work and check your valves every single week. Even the most proficient at-home mechanic would start to hate this tedious task. So the dual sport by nature fits basically in the middle of both. So particularly if you're talking about the 300L, Honda chose to make this bike at this cost, at this level of performance for a few reasons. 8,000 mile oil changes really lend themselves to the dual sport mentality. We have enough power to climb up anything, and we have a 6 gear that can handle highway miles. I mean, sure, 50 or 60 horsepower engines are amazing when it comes to giving you that adrenaline rush when you pull the throttle, but at the end of the day, is it really needed? I feel the market has spoke for themselves. A big portion of dual sport riders are saying, you can cut that 50 or 60 horsepower in half as long as I get long service intervals. I feel the market is saying wet weight can be higher as long as I have more range out of my tank and the bike is well balanced. I feel like the market is saying, I want a more detailed dash cluster on my dual sport, one that actually shows my fuel and my fuel consumption rate. And finally, I feel like the market is saying, you can save me money on suspension. I'll try it out with this suspension. If it's too soft, then I can upgrade in the future, but I don't have to pay the premium at the day that I bought the bike, and it'll be my choice if it's something I really have to address. This is why the Honda 300L is one of the best dual sports and is being received so well. Thank you guys for everything. I hope you have a better understanding of my point of view. I'll pin in the comment below some videos that pertain to this particular video and some others you might like. And please hit the like button below. If you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it, and I sincerely appreciate all the support that everyone has been giving me. My name is Andrew, and this is Motorcycles Off-Road. Thank you guys.